Hey, what's happening? Welcome back to the channel. You're watching 100% NUFC. So this is the match review. It finished at St James's Park. Newcastle United 0, Burnley 0, and I can't really complain about the result. I feel it's a fair result. We didn't really do enough in the game. And I said in the preview, this game has got draw written all over it, and this game lacked a lot of quality. This game did not belong in the Premier League. It belonged in the Championship. And this 0-0 draw would definitely have suited Burnley more than what it would have suited us, because we didn't really threaten the goalkeeper enough from a Newcastle fan's point of view. We didn't really get in Burnley's faces enough as we should do. And again, it's another 0-0 draw at home. And I think we've gone, is it now the full month without scoring in the Premier League? Which is not good enough, for our point of view. And we are now looking over our shoulders after, results went against us. The likes of Bournemouth, I think, drew 2-2. Crystal Palace have won. And West Ham did also win their game against, who was it now? Southampton. And, we're now starting to look over our shoulders because we simply can't get a rhythm going. Steve Bruce, for me, I thought he was negative from the start. And yes, the lineup looks decent. I'm not going to complain about that too much. My only complaint with the lineup would have been, why was Joe Linton starting this game? Why does Joe Linton still get picked when he's in piss poor form and he's there to score goals? And yes, he was put in his natural position, which is the left winger, but we signed him up to be a striker. And to be fair, I didn't see enough of him, in the game to suggest that he's worthy of his price tag, that he's worthy of starting. He's not improving, in my opinion. And yes, he wasn't the only one who had a bit of a lethargic game, because of what a lot of them did. But that's all down to how Burnley, controlled the game. They were working hard and they wanted it more. But for me, this game was designed for Alan St-Maximin, who should really have started the game. He wasn't brought on until the 77th minute. The 77th minute, one of our better players at the club did not start the game. And he done more in the last 13 minutes plus stoppage time than what Joe Linton did in 77 minutes. He was causing Burnley an absolute nightmare. And they started to show their vulnerabilities towards the end. But, if you look at the whole complexion of the game, I thought this game was designed, especially from a Burnley point of view, to come to St James's Park and come away with a point or try and get 3 points if they possibly can. I'm going to take nothing away from Burnley for, the actual result, because I thought, they had a game plan, they stuck to it. And without really testing Dubravka, they actually gave us a game. They actually were in our faces, they bullied us. And I said that in the preview, Burnley are going to come here to frustrate, and they did exactly that. And it's a good point for them because, they're only a couple of points now off safety. Whereas you look at us, a point at home again isn't acceptable. And the fact that we're not really working the goalkeeper enough is concerning for myself. In the lineup, as you can see, he's changed the formation completely. He's gone with a 4-4-2, 4 at the back, which is positive. You can't go wrong with that. And that's what we should be doing. We should be a bit more open, a bit more, positive, expressive. And, you've seen the likes of Giorgio Shelby back in the side, Isaac Hayden, Matt Ritchie, Manquillo. Obviously, the likes of Lazaro was dropped because he picked up a red card. Dwight Gale was starting up front alongside Joe Linton. So, he was being a bit more positive in that front. But like I say, Alan St-Maximin was my only sort of questionable decision of Bruce why he didn't do it. But, going into the match, I thought there wasn't really much going on in terms of shots on goal. I thought Burnley, had a lot of possession, but didn't really test Dubravka that much. There was a lot of balls going over the crossbar and things and going wide. Whereas for ourselves, we had a chance with Dwight Gale when he was put through a couple of times, but Nick Pope, he dealt with it really well. And then obviously Matt Ritchie had a chance as well when the ball got whipped in and he somehow stabbed it wide. He should do better. He should get that on target. But, that first half finished 0-0. And I have to say it was a bit more of a volleyball game than it was a football game. There was a lot of the ball going in the air, which is really frustrating because I encourage, or the manager should encourage the players to, play the ball on the ground and to, quick pass and, get in the faces of Burnley. And Burnley were always going to come up to frustrate. That's their way of playing. But you know what? It's getting them the points, especially away from home. They dug in there, and that's what you've got to do. Second half, I thought there might have been a bit more about it. I wouldn't know if it sort of upped the tempo, but it was the same old from the first half. We were trying to, maybe do a bit more than what we did in the first half with the ball, but it's just the same old, just lack of ideas, lethargic, giving the ball away, picking up needless yellow cards. Like Dwight Gill was one And it's a case of we've got to do better. For me, St Maximin should have come on around about the 60th minute because the game was just dying off. Burnley were, yes, they were trying and they were, trying to have a go, but we were having a go. But the ball a lot of the time was in the centre of the park. There wasn't really much going on, and we didn't really threaten us enough as we should do at home. And I thought it was just as the second half was going on, I'm like, this game is going to finish 0-0. It's got draw written all over it because nobody seems to want to go for the win. Obviously, Sean Dyche, he rang the changes. He brought on Chris Wood to see if he could potentially get them the winner. But like I say, Burnley were probably more happy to come away with the point more than the win. And then obviously for us, we brought on St Maximin, and he was quite lively. He was getting down the left quite well. Obviously, Joe Linton went off, thank goodness for that. And there was a few corners he created, but not really much going on in my opinion. And the game was petering out towards a 0-0 draw, and that was the final result. Newcastle United 0, Burnley 0. And it's a point. We've stopped the rot of defeats. That is the only positive I could take from today's game. But apart from that, we didn't really do enough to deserve 3 points, in my opinion. There was a lot of frustrated Newcastle players out there, such as Joe Linton, obviously, Almiron, and all them. But it's a case of it's a cast of our own downfall. We're creating our own problems here, and that's why we're dropping points, because we're not really working as a team and we're not really going for it. And yeah, you could argue it's a new formation and stuff, but against Burnley we should be doing better. And I would have felt a bit bad for Burnley actually had they not come away with at least a point, because I thought they deserved it. And had we picked up 3 points, I thought we would have been quite lucky. But I have to look at the game on both angles, and I thought a draw was about fair. But Bruce is under a lot of pressure now, because simply that's not good enough, against Burnley. And yes, we are 7 points clear of the relegation zone if you look at the Premier League table. But the point is, we should be doing a hell of a lot better, and we're not. And the games don't get any easier, of course. There's another pressurised game in the FA Cup, 5th round against West Bromwich Albion. Again, if the fans aren't already toxic enough about Steve Bruce, there will be on Tuesday if we get knocked out. And then we've got Southampton away. It's St Mary's, and if we don't get anything there, then it's going to be tough. And people say we've got an easy running. There's no easy running in the Premier League, because, like I say, Southampton are another one who, they're scrapping for points as well. I know they're just above it, but at the end of the day, that they've picked up of late as well. And we've just got no confidence about winning. For me, is the man, Steve Bruce, the guy for the job? Personally, I don't think so. I don't think he is. But I'm not going to call for his head just yet. I do want him to leave, but I'll stick behind him for now to see if we can possibly do something in the next couple of games. But for me, he's going to be judged in the next couple of games against West Brom and Southampton, and I want to see points, because if I don't see them points, then for me, he has to go and something needs to change. But there we go, 0-0 from St James's Park. Let us know if you went. What did you think of the game? Who was your star player from Newcastle, if there was one? And what do you think about going into the Burnley game? Sorry, the West Brom game, do beg your pardon, on Tuesday. I will be back with a preview on that one as well, so stay tuned to the channel. If you are new, please don't forget to like, share, comment and subscribe. Yeah, a bit of a frustrating afternoon at St James's Park, but I can't say it wasn't coming. So yeah, it finished at St James's Park. Newcastle United 0, Burnley 0, and I'll see you all in the next one. How are the lads?